Monmouth University suspends Greek life. Recovery efforts begin with the aftermath of Hurricane Florence, and New Jersey lawmakers work to ban 3D printed guns. All this and more on this episode of Hawk TV News. Hello and welcome to another episode of Hawk TV News. I'm Arieli Batista.
And I'm Haley Gasparine. Greek life at Monmouth University came to a halt on September 6th when President Gray Dimena and Vice President of Student Life, Marianne Nagy, called for its suspension. The Greek Life Senate was unable to propose a plan to change the culture of Greek life on campus before the deadline. There were reported incidents of hazing, excessive drinking, partying, and a lack of academic focus, which led to suspension that President Dimena stated the safety of Monmouth students is his top priority. The Greek Senate has until October 15th to propose a sufficient plan of action.
Hurricane Florence has passed, but not without destroying communities and leaving many families homeless. The storm resulted in major casualties in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. In total, this hurricane has taken the lives of 37 people. Recovery efforts are underway to restore communities that were destroyed by the wind and flooding. 343,000 people are left without power. President Trump has visited the affected areas and is taking into consideration the recovery efforts needed to bring the Carolinas and parts of Virginia back to normal.
A survivor has been rescued by divers from the wreck of an overcrowded Tanzanian ferry after it capsized in Lake Victoria. The death tolls passed 200. However, the exact number of people the ferry was carrying remains unknown. Tanzania President John Magufuli has ordered the managers of the ferry arrested for exceeding safe capacity. 40 people have been rescued so far, and the progress is still ongoing.
Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh is facing allegations of sexual misconduct that could impact his confirmation. 53-year-old Deborah Ramirez, who attended Yale University with Kavanaugh, accused the judge of sexual misconduct that she says occurred at a college party. Kavanaugh stated that he has no memory of the event. There is an ongoing investigation into the matter, which has delayed Kavanaugh's Supreme Court confirmation hearings.
Democratic lawmakers in New Jersey are working to ban 3D printed guns. Lawmakers already presented a bill to ban ghost guns in April, which passed in June with a vote of 37-0. The original plan was to prevent the making and distribution of firearm parts with no serial numbers. The updated bill, including the ban of 3D printing guns, began its approval process September 17th. The State Assembly Judiciary Committee already voted to approve it. The Senate needs to vote and approve the bill before Governor Phil Murphy can sign it into law.
New Jersey Senator Joseph Vitale sponsored a bill to fine New Jersey colleges for mishandling cases of sexual assault. Such allegations in higher education have been on the rise. 5 New Jersey colleges are already under investigation by the U.S. Department of Education for mishandled reports of sexual violence.
For a musical review, we now go to Michael Orlando.
Hey guys, I'm here to give you my overall review of the Broadway musical Waitress. Starting off with the music aspect of the show, the cast and ensemble sang with great harmonies that stayed throughout the entire show. The lyrics and music of Waitress was written by Sarah Bareilles. Whether it could be the musical keys of the songs or the lyrics, you could definitely tell it was written by Sarah Bareilles, who was retelling the story. The musical was based on the 2007 movie Waitress, which starred Kerry Russell and Nathan Fillion. The acting aspect of the show was definitely impressive, especially with the main character, Jenna. Jenna is a woman in an abused marriage who works as a waitress and discovers she is pregnant. Whenever Jenna ends up having conflict in her life, whether that be in her marriage or in work, she always makes a pie to forget about her problems, a practice that was inspired by her mother. However, as the problems become more and more difficult, she starts to face them instead of hiding from them. Jenna has amazing character progression because she starts out very broken. However, when she has her child, she gains the strength to leave her abusive husband and to finally be happy with the help of her friends Becky and Dawn. I have to say this is my favorite musical that I have seen because not only does this show have the audience in tears throughout Jenna's journey, but also laughing through the comedic moments as well. This show was a great story of self-rediscovery, which I highly recommend to any musical lover. Well, that's it for me, guys, with your musical review. Back to you guys at the desk.
We have to take a short break, but stay tuned for more Hawk TV news.
Listen. All it took was someone who would insist that I just try.
Suddenly, everything was turned around because they judge you.
You tell them, I don't need this.
No one is going to understand.
Unless they've been through it, how can they?
Then one day you realize,
You feel so hopeless.
I need help. I need help.
You feel so hopeless.
Then one day you realize,
Unless they've been through it, how can they understand?
I don't need this.
No one's going to judge you.
suddenly everything was turned around because they insist that I just try.
All it took was someone who would just
Listen.
A professor from the University of Michigan has refused to write a letter approving one of his students to study abroad in Israel. John Shenny Lippold, an associate professor in the university's American Culture Department, denied Abigail Ingber permission to travel, citing BDS Movement, the international protest that works to boycott Israel for its discrimination against the Palestinians. The professor explained that although he would not write a study abroad letter for Ingber, he would be happy to recommend her for anything else. Michigan Governor Rick Snyder signed a law in January 2017 banning the boycott of foreign states, but had no mention of Israel for the BDS movement.
The humanitarian situation in Yemen has worsened after the Saudi-led coalition captured the main road to the strategic port city of Hodeidah. UN Humanitarian Coordinator Liz Grande said that if the mills within the area are damaged or disrupted, the human cost would be incalculable, as 300,000 lives are at stake. The Saudis began their offensive on the port after UN talks failed with the Houthi rebels due to a lack of adequate assurances on their travel to Geneva. They argue that the port is being used to smuggle arms and extract revenue.
Amazon is preparing to introduce a new surge of Alexa products later this year. The new voice control devices are built into audio gear, cars, and even microwave ovens. The smart home market will grow even larger with Alexa joining digital assistants such as Apple's Siri, Microsoft's Cortana, and Google Assistant. Amazon has yet to confirm if the release of these new Alexa devices will be a part of the Echo line.
Apple recently announced 3 new iPhones for this year's showcase. A redesigned Apple Watch Series 4, the iPhone XS is 5.8 inches. If you want a bigger screen, the iPhone XS Max is 6.5 inches. Both the XS and the XS Max have a stronger glass and greater water resistance. The XS costs $999 and the XS Max goes for $1,099. Both XS models have a Super Retina LED screen and stainless steel body, while the entry-level XR features a 6.1-inch LCD screen and aluminum casing.
We now go to Vincent Kranta covering the Communication Kickoff event.
What's going on, guys? I'm here at the Plan Drew Center for the Communications Kickoff event. Let's go talk to some of the students and faculty and see what they have to offer.
Comworks is a performance club, and it's made to let students experience self-expression and positivity, and basically it's called Comworks Committed to Performance because we could perform anything you want. It used to be more poetry-based and slam poetry-based, but now it's literally what anybody ever feels comfortable sharing, singing, dancing, whatever they want to share with the world. And we do it so that they can practice their communication skills and interpersonal skills and connect to the community.
And people take away from the outlook is that we're a student-run organization. While we're not paid, we put out our heart and soul into the paper every week. And it's really fun, and you meet new people, and it's great to be published, and it's always great to have fun.
WCX is a radio station that operates out of Monmouth University, and we provide alternative rock to the greater Monmouth County area. You can hear them in parts of North Jersey and parts of South Jersey, but mostly in Monmouth County.
See more students learning about the different organizations within communication. You don't have to be a communication major in order to be a part of the organizations, and so we want as many people in and being a part of this so that we get more exposure as well outside of the communication department.
Seems like the students learned a lot from this event, and the faculty are really getting to know the students a lot more. Well, that does just about it. I'm Vincent Carranza for Hawk TV News. Back to you guys in the studio.
Former NFL quarterback Colin Kaepernick recently signed a multi-year contract with Nike to become the face of their 30th anniversary ad campaign. The initial ad read, "Believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything." This comes just months after Kaepernick changed the NFL by kneeling during the national anthem in protest of social injustices. The nation has had very mixed reactions as people in opposition to the campaign have been burning Nike apparel in protest. Despite all Kaepernick has been through, his agent recently hinted that he may be signed this season.
Panic at the Disco's frontman, Brandon Urie, is using the power of his music to reach people's lives and inspire them. After the release of the album Pray for the Wicked, with the track High Hopes in May, he launched Highest Hopes Foundation, a nonprofit to support human rights. Urie also teamed up with State Farm for a campaign called Neighborhood of Good. He wants to bring awareness to how important it is to help kids pursue their passions.
Now we go to Hania Sarsar, who covered art Professor Vincent DiMaggio's 50th year teaching at Monmouth University.
We are here celebrating art professor Vincent DiMaggio's 50th year at Monmouth University. Let's go take a look.
An artist doesn't just do one thing one night. He carries through every night. He's striving to do something better than the next. And if I learned one thing from DiMaggio, that'd be it.
He has a real special bond with students that take his classes. I think his work ethic is really something they notice. He's always in the studio. He's always working on something new, oftentimes like several series or several different things, different mediums, different ideas. And I think just seeing him working all the time kind of inspires them to really, kind of try their hardest to really kind of not match, but kind of show they can really put forth the effort that he requires for his classes too.
I've worked with Professor DiMaggio since 1995, and even at that time he had already been here a long time, but Professor DiMaggio is someone I know that the students love. He is always thinking about the students and always cares about the students. Not only is he a great artist, as you can see from all this wonderful art, but he always puts the students first, and that's what I love about him, because I do the same thing.
Just love being here. I love being around students. I love the young spirit that I see all the time, and it just makes my life a hell of a lot better.
Professor DiMaggio has clearly impacted students, faculty, and Monmouth University as a whole throughout all his years of teaching. Until next time, I'm Hania Sarsar for Hawk TV News.
The 17th annual Primetime Emmy Awards was held on September 18th, hosted by Colin Jost and Michael Shea. The Emmys strangely avoided the Me Too movement, which left many viewers angry. Glenn Weiss also proposed to his girlfriend after winning an award for Best Director of a Variety Special. The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel won Best Comedy, while Best Actor and Actress in Comedy went to Rachel Brosnahan and Bill Hader. Mrs. Maisel won 4 Emmys.
Disney has released a new trailer for Captain Marvel, the next installment in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The movie stars Brie Larson as the main character, Carol Danvers, and will take place during the 1990s. Directors Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck admitted in an interview that they had fun playing around with the 90s setting. But this has raised skepticism that the related jokes will draw viewers away from the story in favor of the 90s. Captain Marvel is set to be released in March of next year.
We have to take another short break, but stay tuned for more Hawk TV News.
Bye-bye.
Hi. Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert. Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help. You were probably gonna turn down the radio too, so you could focus, right?
Probably okay isn't okay.
Right?
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew on him.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
Listen.
All it took was someone who would insist that I just try.
Suddenly, everything was turned around because they judge you.
You tell them, I don't need this.
No one is going to understand.
Unless they've been through it, how can they?
Then one day you realize
You feel so hopeless.
I need help. I need help.
You feel so hopeless.
Then one day you realize
Unless they've been through it, how can they understand?
I don't need this.
No one's going to judge you.
suddenly everything was turned around because they insist that I just try.
All it took was someone who would just...
Listen.
We now go to Michaela Laster for your entertainment news.
Hey guys, Michaela here with your latest entertainment news. Starting you off with celebrity news. Kanye West stated he's officially out of the sunken place and called out Nick Cannon, Drake, and Tyson Beckford on Instagram. Kanye tells Nick Cannon he understands he had a previous relationship with his wife, Kim Kardashian West, but that's in the past and he doesn't want anyone speaking on his wife's name. Kanye also addressed his issue with Drake's new record that has been raising suspicions on Kim Kardashian West and Drake having a relationship. Drake asked in his popular song, "Kiki, do you love me?" And fans are starting to think that the Kiki he is referencing is Kim Kardashian West. Drake never bothered to clear up the rumors, and Kanye says that doesn't sit well with his spirit. So it's clear that Kanye has said a lot, but we only heard a response back from Nick Cannon, who says, although he has love and respect for Kanye, he's not going to allow Kanye to tell him what he can and can't say. Nick Cannon even invited Kanye to his 200th Wild 'N Out show to battle it out. Although many agree that Kanye shouldn't have communicated his issues through social media, I think we should all be a little happy that he is finally out of the sunken place. Moving on to other celebrity news, the Emmys just occurred in a surprise like no other. Glenn Weiss proposed live on stage to his now fiancée, Jan. He told her, "You wonder why I don't like to call you my girlfriend? Because I want to call you my wife. Talk about a proposal." But how awkward would that have been if Glenn didn't win? Perhaps the proposal wouldn't have went as planned after all. And to end off with TV news, here are two shows coming back on.
The Connors is now taking place of the new canceled show, Roseanne, and the first episode will air on October 16th without Roseanne on the show. Also, a 2-hour premiere of Grey's Anatomy is on September 27th for its 15th season. So that's all for the entertainment news for today. Back to you guys in the studio.
With the fall semester in full gear, we know school can get a bit stressful and overwhelming. We now go to Hanya Sarsar for the latest edition of Tips on the Go.
College is a new world that brings many new exciting opportunities, but also challenges for students. It can be a little difficult sometimes figuring out how to manage this new chapter in your life. Today I'm going to share with you 5 major tips that will hopefully help you through this huge transition. Tip number 1 is to network. By this I mean join clubs, become involved, and talk to people. Networking will usually help make your college experience more enjoyable for different reasons. Some include having more friends, being more comfortable at school, and can lead to great opportunities. Joining Hawk TV in my freshman year spring semester helped me gain many friends and experience in the field that I want to have a career in. Networking also helps because it gets some people out of their comfort zones. It is beneficial to talk to people and have the willingness to try new things. Tip number 2 is to get out and explore. Whether you live in a dorm, off campus, or are a commuter, it is a good idea to go out and attend events or any club activities with friends. Tip number 3 is to not be afraid to ask for help. It can be a scary environment, but remember, you are not the only one who is overwhelmed or intimidated by others. It is good to ask for help because it provides you with more opportunities to learn. Ask your professors for help, ask your friends for advice, and always know there is someone you can go to with any questions or concerns. Tip number 4 is to put good effort towards classes. Show up to class on time, participate, and make your voice heard. This helps you build a good relationship with your professor. Lastly, tip number 5 is to have a good positive attitude. A positive attitude is a key to leading a positive life. This can be hard sometimes because college can be a roller coaster of emotions. However, an optimistic attitude helps you accomplish more efficient work and is necessary for success. So do what makes you happy. College goes by faster than you imagine. Hopefully these tips will help you feel a little bit less overwhelmed. That's all for this edition of Tips on the Go. Back to you guys at the desk.
We have to take another short break, but when we return, Ryan Waldes has an exciting recap on Monmouth sports.
Listen.
All it took was someone who would insist that I just try.
Suddenly, everything was turned around because they judge you.
You tell them, I don't need this.
No one is going to understand.
Unless they've been through it, how can they?
Then one day you realize
You feel so hopeless.
I need help. I need help.
You feel so hopeless.
Then one day you realize
Unless they've been through it, how can they understand?
I don't need this.
No one's going to judge you.
suddenly everything was turned around because they insist that I just try.
All it took was someone who would just
listen.
After school today, I will be dead. I can't go on any longer. Nobody even knows I exist. They pass through me like air, like nothingness. That's what I am. Nothing.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
Listen.
All it took was someone who would insist that I just try.
Suddenly everything was turned around because they judge you.
You tell them, I don't need this.
no one is going to understand.
Unless they've been through it, how can they?
Then one day you realize
You feel so hopeless.
I need help. I need help.
You feel so hopeless.
Then one day you realize
Unless they've been through it, how can they understand?
I don't need this.
No one's going to judge you.
suddenly everything was turned around because they insist that I just try.
All it took was someone who would just...
Listen.
Welcome back to your weekly sports update. Let's take a look at how your Hawks are doing. Sophomore running back Pete Guerrero rushed for over 100 yards, but it wasn't enough as the football team fell to Princeton 51-9, dropping their record to 2-2. The game represented the first ever meeting between New Jersey's two FCS schools. The Hawks will be back at home when they host Wagner September 29th. Lexi Palladino, Maddie Gibson, and Aaliyah Moore each netted 2 goals as the women's soccer team downed MAC rival St. Peter's 9-0 last Saturday. The victory bumped the team's record to 6-3-1. They'll travel to Manhattan before coming back home to take on Siena. After falling behind 2-0 early, the field hockey team stormed back with 3 goals to defeat Bucknell 3-2. Senior Kelly Hanna scored the go-ahead goal for the Hawks in the 69th minute of play. The team now sits at 5-5 heading into their first conference match of the year on September 28th when they'll travel to Ryder. Finally, men's soccer picked up their second win of the season in thrilling fashion, defeating Hartford 2-1. In the 87th minute, sophomore Santo Arino connected on a goal from 45 yards out to give the Hawks the victory. The team will enter their first conference matchup of the year 2-4-1 as they play host to Manhattan. For more sports updates, check out The Extra Point right here on Hawk TV. Back to you guys at the desk.
That's all for this week of Hawk TV News. Thank you for joining us. I'm Haley Gasparin.
And I'm Arieli Batista. Be sure to tune in next time for another edition of Hawk TV News.
Hi.
Hello.
I'm a big college student.
Oh, me too.
Awesome. What are you gonna do over winter break?
I was gonna watch some Netflix, but I'm like really tired of Netflix.
Same. I wish there was something new to watch online.
Me too, but what could it be?
Hawk.
Space.
TV.
Space.
MU.
Enter.
Oh, emojis! I thought the conversation just got dumber.
Ugh, internet trolls, just ignore them.
I like you just the way you are.
I believe in you!
She's a hugger. Give her a squeeze.
Help up the hand.
Ah, there you go.
Thanks, mate.
You're killing it, Jane!
This is Hawk TV News, and we've got it covered.
This is Hawk TV News.
This is Hawk TV News, and we've got it covered.